everybody, it's Kay Kalthoff. Welcome to a Stampin' Chat with Kay. We are doing live video here at my Stamping to Share page, so thank you so much for joining me. And of course I'm going to do a little giveaway. I'll show you that in a minute. So the way you get into the drawing whenever you're hanging out with me on a Stampin' Chat, be sure to just comment. You can tell me where you're from, maybe what you like the best about the cards I'm making, or you can share your video, or I should say, and you can share your video and share that to your timeline and let other people know about our wonderful hobby. And we, of course, get all of our supplies through Stampin' Up. At least I do, because I'm a demonstrator. But the quality of supplies are just incredible, and they are celebrating their 30th year. And it was just great being at Onstage a couple of weeks ago in order to celebrate that big event with them. And so look at here, we have a bunch of you joining me already. Thank you so much. Today we're going to be focusing on a bundle, and the bundle is called Rooted in Nature. And I'm very excited about this because we're going to do some simple stamping, and that is just paper and ink. And so we'll be doing a card, super simple. And then we're going to step it up and add a punch. And so that is a very pretty card. I posted it over in my public group called Happy Stampers Stamping to Share, so they already got a peek at the second card that we're going to be making. And then the third card we're going to be making uses the Big Shot, and so it's a really, really pretty card. It's a good card for maybe a sympathy or a thinking of you, so I'll be sharing that with you too. So I think we're going to go ahead, we're going to flip the camera down, and I'm going to share some cards I got in the mail. Yes, I got cards in the mail just since Friday, 3 cards to be exact, so I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. So thank you so much. The people sending me cards were Dawn, who's one of my downline members. She sends me lots of cards, and they bring so much joy to my heart every time I get one. And then I also received a card from one of my customers, Elaine. Elaine also enjoys sending cards so much, and I'm so lucky to be one of the happy recipients of her card giving. And then also one of my adopted downline, Brenda, gave me a card in the mail, and it's so pretty. And so let me go ahead and we'll flip the camera down and I'll show you those cards. So there we go. Hopefully this looks pretty good, and we'll get rolling here with some of the cards I'm going to share with you. So the very first card is a card from Dawn, and she uses the Animal Outing set, and she also used the Tropical Escapes Designer Series paper. That's a 6x6 pack. It's really cute. Let me make sure I'm getting it into the photo here. But the Animal Outing stamp set has a really cute animals, and it can be used for thank you cards or also new baby cards. So this set is pretty versatile, and I really like it. And so that was just a very nice card to receive from Dawn. Really brightened my day. This card was from my customer Elaine, and I love it because she used such pretty colors on here. It's a beautiful fall/Thanksgiving card. And I love the leaves, and she stippled them in different colors and did a lot of sponging on this, and it's just beautiful. It's very easy and very mailable in that the only thing that's raised up is this Happy Thanksgiving banner. So it's really pretty, and you can see she used the copper foil here as well as the copper foil on this leaf cutout, and it just shines and shimmers. Absolutely gorgeous. And then finally, the last card I received in the mail, this one is from Brenda, and she is one of my adopted downline in Stampin' Up. And I love this card. It's made with the Spirited Snowman stamp set. And so this is in our 2018 holiday catalog. And one of the things that I loved about this card is she did blocking here in the background. So she used Pool Party back here along with Mint Macaron, and I think those two colors just complement each other so well. It's pretty subtle, the difference between the two colors, but I think it just adds so much. It's very, very elegant looking, and yet it has kind of a cute spirit about it with the spirited snowman that you see pictured here. Another thing that I'm sure the camera is not picking up is she took Wink of Stella and colored the snowman with Wink of Stella, and so that's super cute. And then, of course, you know, how easy is it to color a snowman? I love snowmen because there's not that much work to him. So all she did was do a little bit with the blender pen on the scarf, the hat. Isn't that cute touch right here? She added a little rhinestone there. And then to make the snowman show up, because otherwise it's white against white, she just took a little bit, I think it's Pool Party, a little bit of Pool Party, and just kind of outlined the entire image. And that also gives it motion, and it's so super cute. All right, so let me show you the items that we're using today for the cards that we're making today. We are going to be using the Nature's Roots framelits, and of course they look like this. I have mine on a magnetic sheet, as you can see. And I like storing them this way because it's easy for me to flip through them and access them. And I get these magnetic sheets from Stampin' Storage. I always have a link on every blog post that can take you to that. And I really, really enjoy these. They are something I've invested in, and I'm very happy that I did so. So here they are. And of course they coordinate with a lot of the stamps that you'll find in the Rooted in Nature stamp set. This is a big, big stamp set. It's got 2 cases because it's so big and there's so much wonderfulness to it. Makes some great masculine cards. And then of course with these sentiments, thinking of you, you are wonderful. Very encouraging. I really like it. And now we are also going to be using the Nature's Poem Designer Series paper. And this also kind of coordinates with that stamp set a little bit, and I like it very much. And so we'll actually be using the Designer Series paper right here, right up on top. And so I'll just flip through here real quickly so you can see what the Designer Series paper looks like. We're also going to use a little strip of that. But it's really pretty. It uses some Grapefruit Grove and Tranquil Tide and Soft Suede. It's a very nice, and Cajun Craze and Mint Macaron. It's really, really nice. All right, so are you ready to see the cards that we're making? Of course you are. So the first card that we're going to make is this simple stamping card. And we are going to be creating this card right here. It says, "Words are never enough to thank you for all you do." And then on the inside it says, "You are wonderful." So this is a great masculine thank you card. And of course, because it's simple stamping, it's very easy. It's just ink, paper, and stamps. And so that's the first card that we're going to make. The second card that we're going to make is one that we did for Fall Flair. This is where we're adding a punch. And so again, it's just got basically paper and ink and stamping, and it's nice and easy. And then we've added a couple of punches just to give it a little bit more interest. And then this is what the inside looks like. So I really loved putting this together, and I know I've had a lot of good feedback from my attendees at Fall Flair who really love this card as well. And then the final card that we're going to make today is this one. And this is what I'm going to be giving away. And so you can see there's some beautiful going gray, what is it called again? Gray granite ribbon. And that's what I'm going to do as my giveaway. So I'll give away 2 yards of that when I give away the 2 cards. And so I'll do the drawing for that on Wednesday. And the card looks like this. It's got just a little bit of trim up here, and I'll show you a little hint for tying that on. And then of course this is the inside panel, thinking of you. So it's a beautiful, beautiful card, and we are going to be using some Festive Farmhouse Designer Series paper. And I'm not sure what I did. Oh, I see it. I'll be back in a second. I do want to show this to you because one of the things I love about the Festive Farmhouse Designer Series paper is there's some beautiful wood grain background. So we're going to be actually stamping directly onto this wood grain background. And then here's some more, and it's quite a nice paper. And so I'm not sure, I don't think this is sold out yet, but it's probably it's probably low inventory because this has been a very popular paper in our 2018 holiday catalog. So again, I'm using that and stamping directly on it. So let's go ahead and get started with our simple stamping cards. I'm going to start with this one, and let me grab all the things we need here. We are going to be using very vanilla note cards. Now, in the past, I've been using the Whisper White note cards, which I love, but we also have a very vanilla option, and that seemed really nice for the Rooted in Nature stamp set. So that's what I'm using today. And, of course, one of the nice things about using note cards is that they come already pre-scored. And so I've got one right here. It's pre-scored. All I have to do is fold it. And then just because I like my cards to lie flat while I'm working with them, I do like to use a bone folder, and I'll just press that real sturdily so that we get a nice crease back here, and that way it makes it a little easier for me to work with. But actually, I think for this one, I'm going to be opening it up and stamping like this. So we're going to use this this slab. I think that's what it's called. If I show you what the stamp set looks like again, we have this, I think it's called a wood slab. So it's kind of a cross section of the tree trunk. And so we're going to ink this up with soft suede. So I've got my soft suede here, and I'm just going to open it up, and then I slide it over. And then I'm going to need some scrap paper because we're going to stamp off once. And so let me go ahead and we'll ink this up. And so I'm just bringing the ink pad to the stamp and making sure that it gets evenly inked. And now I can, just kind of look at it, make sure it's all evenly inked, and it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to stamp off once. And then we're going to use the second image actually on our card. So this is the front of our card. And I'm going to stamp this pretty much in the middle of the card and give that a nice press. And there it is. Then what I can do is bring this ink back into the picture, and we're going to take the leaves. There's a trio of leaves that I really love. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to ink that up. And we're going to stamp some leaves here. So partially on and off, and then we'll stamp some down here. And we'll do the exact same thing. We're stamping it partially on and off that block. Now it looks pretty dark, but I will tell you that this will lighten up as it dries until it looks, let me bring this over here, just like this. Can you see the difference between the two? One is dried. I did this morning, and then this one I am doing right now, and it's quite a bit darker, but as it dries, it will lighten up. And now the next thing we're going to do is our sentiments. So I'm going to grab Words Are Never Enough, and we'll ink that up, and we're going to put that up right here. So that will go at the top. And I'm giving it just a second for the ink to soak in nicely, and then I'm going to take the second set of words and we'll ink those up, and those are going to be stamped at the bottom. So let me do that. And again, I'm just giving it a second to soak in. And there it is. So words are never enough to thank you for all you do. Now we want to stamp You Are Wonderful. So let me grab that stamp set. We're going to ink that up. And again, we're using soft suede. I'm going to make sure I'm stamping in the right spot, and I am. So we're going to put that right here. And the final thing to do here is our envelope. So I'm going to grab that, and we're going to grab the leaves again, and we'll just stamp this right down here. And then we're also going to stamp a leaf up here. So I think I'm going to grab my scrap paper, and we'll do that right here. Let's see, how do we want this to look? I think like this. There we go. So there is our completed simple stamping card. Words are never enough to thank you for all you do. Isn't it gorgeous? And then You Are Wonderful. And it's just so easy and quick, and there you go. We even stamped on the envelope. Every year I make a New Year's resolution to stamp on my envelopes, and every year, about 2 weeks into January, I forget. So this year I'm going to get a head start on my resolution, and I'm going to start now in November so that maybe by January 1st I'll have my routine down. How many of you stamp coordinating images on your envelope? That'd be kind of good to know. All right, so let me set that aside, and we're going to start the second card. So let me bring that into the picture so you can see what it looks like. It looks like this. It's a beauty. And so I'm going to grab the supplies here. And we are going to start with our base card. And the base card is 5.5 by 8.5, and we've scored it at 4 1/4. And I'll go ahead and remove this. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to glue on a strip of Designer Series paper. Again, this is from the Nature's Poem Designer Series paper pack. And we're just using those really nice mint macaron and Cajun craze leaves. And this is 2 by 5 1/4. So I am going to glue this on with some multi-purpose liquid glue. Let me fold this here. And I think I need to score it or press it down with the bone folder. There we go. Then I'm just going to set this in just like so, making sure that the top and the bottom and the left side are all pretty much even. And that looks good. So we're going to set that aside for a second, and then we're going to work on stamping the main panel here. And the main panel is 3 by 4 1/4. And what I want to do is I want to grab again some scrap paper here, because we're going to create a little hill. So let me show you. There's another little piece of paper that we need, and I think I have it right here. It's 1 by 3 inches, and it's some more paper that's from this, oh, what is this called again? The Autumn, Nature's, what is it called? Nature's Poem, Autumn's Poem. Oh my gosh, I have to look. Let's see if I have I have it right here. Nature's Poem Designer Series paper. All right, so we're using that again, and that's going to go right here, but we also want to create kind of like a hill-like feature in the background. And so I'm going to do that by taking my large tree that's also part of this, and we're going to ink this up with Sahara sand. And I have to tell you, this happens to me almost every single time I sit down to do a Facebook Live. I could not find my Sahara sand. I mean, I was literally almost pulling my hair out. I couldn't find it. Like, how can I not have Sahara sand? We used it at Fall Flair. I mean, it's a common stamp pad. I use it a lot. And of course, for some reason, I couldn't find it. And now, don't even tell me this. Oh, here it is. So what I had to do is I had to grab one of these little uninked Stampin' Spots that Stampin' Up thankfully provides, and thankfully I had one on hand. And then I took my re-inker, which I had my Sahara Sand re-inker right here. I just didn't have the stamp pad, and I just inked up this little uninked spot. So it's now inked. And it is Sahara Sand, and I will be inking this up, and it's going to be a little weird because it's so small. I even dug through all my paper pumpkins thinking, because sometimes I take paper pumpkins with me, and I'll just, you know, throw the ink pads in there that I need, because I like the full-size ones. Sometimes I'll throw the bigger size ink pads into it, and I was thinking, well, gosh, is it in a paper pumpkin? Nope, it wasn't. I looked everywhere, and I finally gave up and found this little guy and did that. So I tell you, you guys, it's just like little gremlins live in my office. I have no idea where all this stuff goes, but then it'll just turn up randomly like 2 days later when I don't need it anymore. All right, so here's my tree all inked up with Sahara Sand, and I am just going to, I'm putting this here because I kind of want an idea of where my tree needs to be. And I'm going to flip this over in case I accidentally hit it because I don't want to have Sahara sand on it. So I'm just going to set that in just like this. And there's my tree. And it kind of makes a hill. That's what I'm after. So now I'm going to put this on with a little multi-purpose glue, and we're going to set this in. I guess there is no right side up or wrong side up. So I'll just set this on here. We've got our nice little hill. Oops, and you know what? I can't put this on yet. I almost messed this up. So I'm going to set this aside for a second because I need to stamp a tree. And I have to have this tree stamped before I put that other piece down. So let me grab my Early Espresso ink. And we're going to stamp this absolutely gorgeous tree onto the card. All right, so now I'm going to quickly do this here. We'll set this, I don't know, maybe about like this. Give it a few seconds for the ink to soak in, and there it is. Gorgeous, isn't it gorgeous? I love this set of stamps. All right, so now we can take this again, and I don't think I need to put more adhesive on it because I'm pretty sure it's pretty sticky. Actually, I'm going to move this so I can see what I'm doing better. So since the adhesive is already on it, now it's acting more like snail because it's partially dry. Usually if you're putting multi-purpose liquid glue on, you've got a little wiggle room, unless you take it off again and let it air dry a little bit. Now I have no more wiggle room, but it's okay because I got it on there straight. So now I'm going to flip it over, and I see it's a little bit wide, so I'm just going to trim that even with my paper snips, and there we go. All right, so now the next step is to layer this onto a piece of Early Espresso. So the Early Espresso is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, so it's going to be a 1/4 inch larger than this one. So let me grab my snail here. And I always have people ask me, why do you use snail? Why do you use glue? Well, I like to use glue when I'm layering up with our either designer series paper or our regular colored cardstock because you've got that wiggle room. But when I'm using Whisper White or Very Vanilla, I will typically use my snail because I am guaranteed there will be no glue lines. Because sometimes, not right away, but sometimes down the road, there will be some glue lines that show through. And so I don't care for that look, so that's why I use snail to prevent that. So we're going to set this in, and one little tip for you is just to keep an eye on this corner and this corner, and then you can hold your hands on the other two corners, and if you get those two corners right, then you're pretty well guaranteed the other corners will be right as well, so that you can make sure that everything's nice and even. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to glue this directly onto our card. We're not actually going to put it on dimensionals because we're going to put our little punch out on dimensionals. So now I'm using the multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to set this in here. And I'm putting it in here so that the top, the bottom, the right, and the left are pretty much even. And that looks pretty good. Good enough. And then we've got a couple pieces of scrap paper here. So I've got some Whisper White scrap, and I have some Cajun Craze scrap. So I'm going to take my little Sahara Sand homemade ink pad, and I'm going to grab these pretty little leaves here, and I'm going to ink those up. Now this time I actually want it to be a little lighter, so I'm going to stamp off once. So let me grab my scrap paper, and I'm going to stamp off once, and then I'm going to just stamp it onto this Whisper White, just like so. Then I'm going to take, just for you, I'm going to grab this is my Early Espresso ink. I'm going to ink that up, and we're going to stamp that right over here, right over the top of the leaves. And then we're going to punch that out. One thing I love is you can create a really nice looking card with just a few extra supplies such as punches. And so popular size punches are ones that coordinate together. So this is a 1 1/4 inch circle punch, And then I also have a 1 3/8 inch scallop punch, which is going to be 1/8 of an inch larger than this 1 1/4 inch circle punch. So I'm just putting that in here, giving it a little punch out, and then we're going to layer that up. And so now I'm going to grab my scrap of of Cajun Craze, and we'll just do a little punch out here. And then we can go ahead and just, we're going to add a little snail, if I can find it here. I just had it. Uh-oh. Where did it go? Well, it looks like it got away. Does anyone see it? How can I lose it? I just had it. It's those gremlins again. Oh, here it is, way over here by my ink pads. All right, so I'm going to flip it over, and we'll add a little snail to the back, and then we're just going to set this here onto the Cajun Craze. And that looks good. We'll flip it over and we'll add some dimensionals. So thank you so much, everyone who have joined me today. It's really lovely that you're here. I have made 2 cards so far. Well, this one's not quite done, but I'm working on the second card right now. And then the grand finale is going to be the card that I was advertising today over on Instagram. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a little punch out right here. And it just looks so sweet. I'm going to bring it down just a hair. There we go. So sweet. So I'm just making sure that the right and the bottom are about the same distance apart, giving it a press. And the front of our card is done. So now let's work on the inside panel of the card. And I'm going to bring in a panel, if I can find it, of Whisper White. And I actually don't have this marked for some reason, but it's our standard card panel, which is odd that I don't have it marked because I remember marking it. Oh, here it is. All right, so this is our standard panel on a card front or an inside panel, and it's 4 by 5 1/4, and it is Whisper White. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this tree again, and again, we're going to ink it up in Sahara Sand. So make do with my little ink spot here. Thank goodness I had some of these blank ones on hand. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. I suppose I could have used crumb cake. That would have looked just as nice, I suppose. But I really had it in my mind that it needed to be Sahara Sand. All right, so now we're going to stamp this tree just like this. And there it is, looking all beautiful and gorgeous. So you see, you don't really need a great big ink pad. You can use these small ones from Stampin' Up. Add your own ink and you've got your little mini stamp pad. Then I'm going to take Early Espresso again, and I'm going to ink up Words Are Never Enough. And then we're going to stamp that right underneath the tree. Just like so. And there it is. So we'll add this now to the inside panel of our card with a little bit of snail. And we'll set this in and our card will be complete. So this is the second card of the 3. And there it is. Isn't it great? It's so pretty. All right, so we're going to take that out of the picture, and then we're going to now make this card. Oh, you know what? I forgot to stamp my envelope. So I'm going to quickly do that because I'm trying to, whoops, this one's done because this one I had done in advance, but let me show you. Oh, and that one's for my other card. Good gravy. Where is the actual envelope that has no stamping? Here it is. So we're gonna take our Early Espresso again. We're gonna just ink up this fun little tree that we have on the inside of our, or on the outside panel of that mint macaron card. And we'll just stamp it like this. Ta-da! And it's done. It looks so nice. So this one we wanna set aside so it's got a little time to dry. All right, so now let's get back to the main event here. So the first thing I need to do, because I'm using some inks that are not the same as this, is I do need to clean some stamp pads here, or some ink, not stamp pads, not ink pads, what am I saying? I need to clean some stamps. So I'm going to get my handy dandy chamois into the picture. This is something that I was a little skeptical of it when Stampin' Up! First introduced it in our 2018-19 Stampin' Up! Catalog, but then I got one and I was a quick convert. I have been using this for months, and it's got a lot of staining on, but weirdly enough, it doesn't seem to transfer onto my stamps as I'm cleaning them. And so the back I leave blank, and I just work on one side, and it seems to work really nice. And I'll tell you in a minute what I use the back side for, but let me go ahead and clean these. So we'll just, because I'm not using this particular color, so I want to get rid of that. But look at how good that cleans. Can you see? I think you can. It's amazing. So then we'll clean this one. I don't even think I'm using this one, but I'm having so much fun cleaning, I'll just clean it anyway. We do need to clean up the tree, so I'll clean that. That looks pretty good. And then we need these leaves cleaned up. And these are a little stained because I think I used Stays On ink with those. And we do have a Stays On ink cleaner, but I just haven't bothered. It doesn't really bother me that much. Let's see, what else do we need? Do we need anything else cleaned up? I think we're probably good. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. But for those of you that are interested, I encourage you to get this. This is a really good investment. It's just the cleaning chamois from Stampin' Up. I think it's like a Simply Chamois or something like that. But it's wonderful. It's $8, and it's nice. I really like it. I use it a lot more and really enjoy it. Despite how it doesn't look very nice, it does seem to work really nice. All right, so let me share with you how to create this card. We are going to be using the Big Shot machine. We are not going to be using Early Espresso ink, so I want to get that out of the way. Nor will we be using my little tiny ink pad here with the Sahara Sand, but we are going to use soft suede. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want you to see that I've actually stamped the tree and the leaf on designer series paper. So I have a 3 by 6 inch piece of our Festive Farmhouse designer series paper, and that's what I'm going to be doing my stamping on for these images that are going to go on the front of the card. And so I'm going to take the tree and we'll ink that up with soft suede, and I'm going to set this in right here. Give that a second for it to transfer nicely to the paper, and then I'm going to take this leaf, this trio of leaves, and we're going to set this right here. Beautiful. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to give this some sturdiness because I am using dimensionals on these, and sometimes when you use dimensionals with designer series paper, you either have to use a lot to give it total support, or you can support your designer series paper before you actually even put it on your card, and that is what I'm going to do. So I have a small piece of chipboard here, and the chipboard comes from our designer series paper pack, so it just adds a little sturdiness to this piece of paper. So I went ahead and I cut this also at 3 by 6 inches, and I'm just going to take my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I am just barely putting any glue on here, but I'm putting it all over, and then I'm going to put this paper right on over the top, and I'll flip it over and just burnish this down. So now I've added a lot more stability to this designer series paper so that when I add my dimensionals, it's going to make it a lot nicer. So there it is. And it looks great so far. Now we're going to do the cutouts. So let me grab the Big Shot and we'll put it into the picture here. So the sandwich that I want to use is I have my magnetic platform. Now the magnetic platform doesn't actually come with the Big Shot, but I think it's worthwhile to get one if you use your Big Shot a lot, because it helps your your little framelits to stay in place as you're using them. So we're going to set this in just like so. And again, this is the Rooted in Nature set of framelits that are part of the bundle. And when you purchase the stamp set and the framelits at the same time, during this particular catalog year, you will save 10%. All right, so I'm going to set my cut plate over the top. And then we'll get the Big Shot machine in the picture. We're going to roll this through. There it is. So let's take a look at it. And we'll pop out these leaves. Very nice. And we're going to pop out this tree. Beautiful. And they are ready for my card. Okay, so now we just have to get the card ready. So we're going to do some stamping on the inside as well. So let me do the stamping on the inside and get that done. So we have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece, again, of the Festive Farmhouse Designer Series paper. And that is what we're going to do our stamping on. So again, we're going to use the soft suede ink. And I will ink this up. You are wonderful. Is that what I want? No, I don't want that. I want Thinking of You. Good thing I double checked. So I've got the Thinking of You now. And we're going to stamp this right here. Beautiful. And now we're going to stamp some leaves alongside. Maybe one right like this. Perfect. Okay, so there's our inside panel, and then we're going to layer that on top of a piece of gray granite. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I will just put this down again with some multi-purpose liquid glue. Set this in here, and then I can just wiggle it into place so everything is nice and even. So again, for those of you guys that are interested in being in my drawing for this card and the giveaway, and let me show you what the giveaway is. It's 2 yards of our gray granite ribbon, and so I'll be using this on the front of my card here in just a minute. But you just have to comment, let me know where you're watching from, maybe share this video on your timeline, all things good. So this is the inside panel, so we're going to take a 4 1/4 inch by 11 inch piece of soft suede paper, and then we'll score it at 5 1/2, and that will be our card base. So we're going to open this up, and then we're just going to set this on the inside panel. So again, just quickly using some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just setting this in here like so. Beautiful. All right, so now let's go ahead and work on the outside panel. So again, we've got some gray granite, 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to layer that with a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of Festive Farmhouse paper. And again, we're using that wood grain background. I love it. All right, so we are just going to go ahead and, let's see, I do have a little stamping on there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just set this tree here so I know where I need to do my stamping, because I want my words right above my tree. But if I really goof it up, then I still have a chance. I can still get another piece of paper here and start over. All right, so let me grab my words, which are Words Are Never Enough, and I'm going to ink that up with soft suede, and we're just going to stamp this right over here, right over the top of the tree. We're going to be very steady. We're not going to rock the stamp. We're going to lift it up. Ta-da! It's perfect. Love it when that happens. Then I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead, I'll add some glue to the back, and we'll get this out of the way. So I will put this in right like so. And it looks great. Give that a little press. All right, so for those of you that enjoy watching my Facebook Stampin' Chats with Kay, I have to tell you, I won't be around this Friday, because normally I do one on Mondays and I do one on Fridays. But I've got all the family home, so we will not be stamping on Friday or doing a Facebook Live. And I'm sure you yourself might not be home as you're out and about with family or maybe shopping. So my next Facebook Live after today will be a week from today. So you'll have to check in a week from today, again at 3 o'clock on a Monday, and we'll see what we can do. We'll do something fun. I don't even know what it'll be yet, but it'll be something great. So now we're going to take the gray granite ribbon, and I'm going to grab my paper snips that I've set aside for cutting ribbon, and we are going to put this on our card with some Scotch tape. I like using Scotch tape just because I'm very anal about where I want my tape, or I want it to stay, and I'm so worried about the ribbon not staying. So how do I know where to tape it down? So I'm just throwing my tree on here. And what I'm looking for is I want to put this ribbon halfway between where the tree is and where the edge of the Designer Series paper is. So that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to flip this over and we'll secure the top, and then we'll go to the back and secure the bottom. And that all looks good. And now I'm going to take this tree and we're going to put some dimensionals on it and get it out of the way. Oh, so it looks like a lot of you are going to be staying home for the holidays and cooking up feasts. I don't usually have to cook too much because, whoops, I'm looking for my dimensionals now. Here's another pack because I don't see where I put the other ones. But I, every year, bring pumpkin pie cheesecake. That's kind of our family's tradition, and everybody looks forward to having a piece, so that's kind of our big deal, is we make pumpkin pie cheesecake. And then I usually bring one of those broccoli salads with raisins and sesame seeds. I think you guys know the one. That's always a huge hit as well. So now we're going to set this tree in here just like so. I think it looks pretty good right there. Give it a press. And then I told you I was going to give you a tip for tying some twine onto this. Now, if I'm going to have to hold this up to the camera because you have to see this. This is a very, let me see if I can show you. I think you're seeing it. A very short little stem here. And so to get twine around there and to tie it around is quite a trick. So I discovered that if I take my paper snips and I just snip in, just like this, kind of along the stem. See what I'm doing? I'm cutting a little slit there. And when I do that, that will hold my ribbon, well, my twine in place, I should say. So I'm just going to cut about 12 inches off. Then when I take my twine, I can just slip it into that slot, and it does a couple of things for me. It makes that little stem a little bit longer so that it's easier to tie onto the ribbon, and it catches the twine so that it doesn't keep sliding out. And so now I can just go ahead, I'm going to even this up a second. I can just go ahead and tie a bow. And it's all very secure and very nice. So give me a little heart or a like if you think that's a good tip, because this is kind of a two-way street here. There we go. Thank you, everybody. All right. So I made a big sloppy bow because at this point it doesn't matter because you can always fix your bows. So here's kind of a big sloppy one, and then you can trim it up to look all nice and cute. So again, I'm going to take my ribbon scissors and just trim it up. Or you could leave it hang like that. That looks kind of cute too. Then what we're going to do is just take some dimensionals onto the back of this. Just a couple. Actually, I should use some mini dimensionals. Do I even have those on hand? I would think so, because mini dimensionals are kind of fun. So a smaller leaf like this, it's real easy just to throw a mini dimensional on. So if you're going to buy dimensionals, you might as well buy both sizes so you have some of both on hand, because it is handy. Then you don't have to cut the other ones in half, which is kind of like fooling around. I don't like doing that. All right, so here we go. Here's our cute little leaf. I'm going to pop that on right here. And our card is, well, not quite complete. I guess we have to actually put this panel onto the card. So we will do that right now with some multi-purpose liquid glue. Flip that around and set it right here. Isn't it beautiful, everybody? Oh, I just love, love, love this card. I think the paper really makes it. And then, of course, it's so nice and sturdy because we added that chipboard from our Designer Series paper packs to the back of these images and then popped them up. And then here's the inside panel. So here's the card I just made. Here's the card I did in advance. And then, of course, we should do a little stamping of the leaves down here for the envelope. And then I'll put these in the mail when I announce my winners on Wednesday. Yes, today is Monday, so I'll announce the winners on Wednesday. And I'm also giving away 2 yards of the gray granite ribbon. So that's the third card that I did. This is the second card that I did today. I thought you'd enjoy seeing it again. We'll get them all out here. Here it is. So this is just a little bit stepped up from our simple stamping because it uses a couple of punch outs. So that's kind of fun. And then the first card that I did, provided I can still find it here, was simple stamping, which means just paper and ink. So here are those. I think I have my envelopes and everything right here. Wow. Put these cards all out on the desk and my desk suddenly got a lot less cluttered. So that's what those look like. So here they all are, everything that we did today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining me live. And of course, I will leave this up so you have until Wednesday to make a comment. I truly appreciate you, and be sure to join me a week from today when I do another Facebook Live Stamp and Chat with Kay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.